So, why don't you guys introduce yourselves to the Joe Brown YouTube channel? Okay, good. That was great. So, Gareth,
Hello,
can you go first?
YouTube. I am Gareth.
Gareth.
Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to the Joe Brown YouTube experience.
That's freaking great. Thank you, Gareth. That's right. You should be doing that. Gareth, how would people in the robot scene know you?
Mostly for my brushlessing, I'd like to think.
Brushlessing.
But I mostly do beetles and feathers and some ants. I built Gear Down for What, which is the stupid brushless thing.
Excellent. And that made you YouTube famous as well, I believe.
I hope so. I believe so, yeah.
and so famous with seagulls too.
Yeah, seagulls, see, they know me. The birds are lining up outside my window right now, Joe.
Wow.
That's what's going on.
And Craig, how do people know you?
People probably know me for one of many stupid endeavours. Flamingo, two-headed death flamingo with you, Joe Brown, and Sam Elliott.
64.
And Felix Townsend, and Dave Laurie, used to be.
And Rory the Mangles.
And Rory the Mangles. And also Snappy from Bugglebots and Mr. Cat's Mouse House from Accidental Winning Things.
Excellent. And together we are BBB, yes? Correct?
Bristol Bot Builders.
So normally we do events together, but we decided we wanted to do a featherweight together. And this is it. Can you see it on screen, guys?
Yeah, what a glorious featherweight.
So we had this idea back in August 2019.
Yeah, after the last Feather Champs.
Yeah, we did the Feather Champs and Robo Dojo, and we were like, Craig's not come to the feather thing. We've got to get Craig to the feather thing. How can we get Craig to the feather thing? and Gareth's magical brushless and Craig's great driving was a good combo. So I'm just going to switch through some shit. This is some shit drawings. I think mostly mine, actually. I think we said we wanted to do a feather cluster, and we wanted 3 of them. I think we wanted them to be red, green, and blue because Gareth really likes having gaming peripherals.
Also, it's near enough Powerpuff Girls, which I was
Oh yeah, so it was Powerpuff Girls, it was RGB. Gareth was trying to put weapons on for me because I was begging for weapons, but there just really wasn't the weight. We tried waggle sticks, and Gareth tried this vert thing, but I think we settled on like a kind of a wedge form, and it's using kind of Gareth's magic, which is massive brushless motors and direct drive, no gearing.
All the brushless hub motors.
And I think at this point we'd already looked at like bending plastics. You can see that bent wedge that we've actually stuck with. After he'd made this version of it, he sent it over to me and Craig to ruin it in SketchUp. This is what we did with it, I think.
I remember my one key improvement was moving the back axle, the big long bar at the back up, so that it could wheelie.
So that's like this bit here on the left.
There we go.
Yeah. Nice wheelie thing.
Thank you.
And we wanted to copy Alex Shakespeare Shaky as much as possible. So like I just made it short and wider, so it was more like wedge, his Antweight cluster.
And he totally did give us his blessing.
He did, because we'd already ripped off his Beetleweight wide boy with flamingos, so we thought we'd just take it one further.
Scale up his designs, I like to think.
That's it. We take Shaky stuff and just make it bigger. Whether better is debatable, but bigger is for sure. So after we'd added the curved wedge, we added those hooks as well. We quite like the kind of stopping hooks. And we also wanted some forks, so we played around with some forks. Here is the RGB, the red, green and blue.
Beautiful.
Priority number 1. A big shared love of this group is HDPE, chopping board plastic.
Absolutely.
We like our bots to be plastic and just bounce around and take hits, ideally.
Such a great material. Make everything out of HDPE.
There we go. Make your life out of HDPE. Build a home out of HDPE.
I would.
We literally just got the plastic in big sheets of this colour, and then we asked our friend Cosmin, can you please machine this? So I've compiled Cosmin's hours of machining for you guys now. I hope you're excited. So before we made the RGB bot, we decided we were going to make a prototype one out of white HDPE for Gareth to mess around with and do his magic with. So here is probably 10 hours of Cosmin's life in about a minute.
That's beautiful.
So he's got this lovely machine, this CNC machine that I believe he's at least custom done a lot of it, like the kind of brushless motor on the top. So obviously the brushless is something we're a fan of, or at least Gareth is.
Absolutely.
And you can see he's kind of carving out all the parts of the robot. The kind of bulkheads, the sides, the big wedge on the front's just coming out now. I don't know if you can make that out at your end, boys, but
oh yeah, there you go.
And he's got his Hoover out now. He's giving it a good souk, and now he's just adding the little ridges to the wedge. And there you go. That was the first physical part of this featherweight cluster.
So this was primarily for like testing the fit, wasn't it? Testing fit, testing the electronics, and making sure it would all work before we spent lots of money on all the other ones.
This was the test version of the parts.
Became known as the General.
Yeah, later on he gained that name, and even Craig decorated him to look more general-like. That I have got photos of. I'm very excited to share with you, fans of the Joe Brown YouTube channel. But I want to, at this point, I want to give a big shout out to Cosmin, or as we call him, Cozers, for his beautiful machining. Because this genuinely looked like it had been like 3D printed or something. The machining marks just looked like little extrusions. It was really cool.
Big up, Cozers.
Yeah, so smooth. So smooth.
I think this is around late December at this point. And we ordered these motors from various sources in China. They came completely different colour, size, weight and everything to advertised, which is excellent.
Various quality.
Gareth opened them up and had a look. What did you think when you first saw them, Gareth?
When I first saw them, I thought they were actually pretty decent motors. It was when you start looking closer, that's when you realise they're terrible. They're really cheap power, to be fair. They're like 20 quid each, those ones. They'll put a lot of torque down. It keeps the 1 horsepower per kilogram power to weight ratio going.
Is that your rule for your robots?
That is the rule.
So here's another part of the magic that Gareth provides.
This is the magic that went horribly wrong. These ones where the speed controls are just overheated constantly. Yeah, that's it, running an amp weight weapon motor.
So it can do that at least.
It can do that. It's still overheated, but it can do it.
Amazing.
You can see them next to the ruler there. They were ambitious.
Oh yes, there's a ruler. Trust you to have a PCB ruler.
Send you it for free. Yeah, they turn a motor, they just probably wouldn't survive well at sort of 40, 50 amps.
The Gareth build style is this sort of like HDPE or nylon, some sort of plastic along the sides, and then across it is always sort of some aluminium bars. So Gareth had machined some for testing like a mad lad, and put together this sort of chassis here. So like this is it next to Gareth's usual feather. It looks kind of the same size, but that's just because your robots are always tiny. Like, they
compact, Joe.
Yeah. It's sort of weighing it all. It looks like it's sort of 3.5 kilograms without wheels is sort of the vibe at this point, and battery and any screws. So mildly concerning because we're aiming for 4.5 kilograms. After you've mostly assembled that, I think you managed to get that guy driving. So let's have a look at some little clips of this boy driving around.
Jesus Christ.
Like, I feel like one of these would be a threat to a featherweight.
I think this is the exciting thing, as long as they're not glass cannons, you know?
Yeah.
Like, that's the thing I'm nervous about.
Famous last words there, probably. But we've not put I think the main thing is we've not put these in a fight yet, so we don't really know, like, how well
we have
Garment...
no idea what's going to happen to them.
So here's one pushing Gareth around, thanks to the vertical video, Gareth. I appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Sarcasm. So yeah, anyway, at this point, Gareth had proven the concept, right? It drives.
It drives.
Which is all we needed, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cosmin sent us this lovely package. We committed, and we got a whole box of red, green, and blue parts of this guy.
It's also, can we go back to that as well for a second?
Yeah.
Because it's important to know he shipped it in RGB. He shipped it in order. Professional service.
He's a good lad.
Just the little things with Bad Timing Robotics.
Yeah, shout out to Bad Timing Robotics, sponsor of this video. If you're looking for machined parts or some nice Beetle gearboxes, check out shop.teambtr.com. Sorry, Cosmin, I forgot your password. Password? Website. Cosmin, I've stolen your identity. We'll talk afterwards.
Cosmin, change your password. Quick.
So now we're on to Gareth's wheels. This is like almost scaling up amp wheels. There's not many people that do 3D printed wheels at featherweight.
Yeah, this is another thing into the glass cannon side of it all. I mean, it works at Beetleweight.
So you 3D printed like hubs that click over the top of the motors, laser cut these acrylic molds. So stick with
I
the
love
acrylic.
you doing this one-handed.
Yeah, this is great. That's the problem with being a YouTuber, Gareth. You know the struggle now, man. And you're moulding the tyres onto those.
Yeah, so you
3D
pour
printed hubs.
it's polyurethane mix, and so you just mix two parts together, and then pour it into the mould, and it sort of sets directly around the wheel hub.
This is where Gareth made the alley bars. I made a couple, but Gareth made 90% of them for the robot. But they just sort of measured to different sizes. And yeah, before everyone thinks we have loads of fancy tools, we don't. We just leech off the university, alright?
Yeah, big shout out to Mike at the workshop.
Big shout out to Mike at Bristol University Student Workshop. He just makes stuff for us that have nothing to do with university. So, shh, I didn't say that.
Give that man a raise.
So at this point, right, we were sort of discussing the theming, because I told Cosmin we were doing RGB, and he was like, oh, that's quite good, but it's not that silly for you guys. You normally do really stupid robots. And so there's 3 of them, so we talked around the sort of 3 Musketeers theme. So this is some concept art, I guess. And then this is where Craig's absolute creme de la creme comes in. This is Craig's...
Craig de la creme.
Craig de la Craig. So yeah, we obviously tested this out with the concept of hats. So we were like, okay, this needs to be a Musketeer style robot. So here's some concept art again, you see, high quality stuff. And then here was a hat I've ordered off eBay with a banana for scale. So here's like testing on the robot. Some lovely Photoshop from Craig there. So like we knew at this point this had potential.
It looks ridiculous enough to be something that we have made.
Exactly. Now it felt like not just amazing Gareth robot, but Gareth robot that's been tainted with our shite. So now we actually start to do building some robots because we're happy with the prototype. So let's see. So the session begins with tapping.
So the boys are tapping some holes.
Should be banned from robot combat. I'm saying it there.
These would be better if they were HDPE. Let's get a close up.
Have you ever considered making your motors out of HDPE?
Oh, he's pretty much
I'm almost
hitting
in.
home there.
I'm almost in. My first tap of the evening. It's only taken me 20 minutes.
And Craig's already got through a whole two ends of tube and 3 ends now. Look at all that.
How are you saying? We spent bloody ages just tapping, didn't we?
It was a long period of tapping.
It was more than an evening, wasn't it? So you guys carried on the next day.
The bars sort of go between the different bits of plastic and kind of screw together to hold it in place, and are probably going to shred instantly in combat, which is really good. Sorry, I think as time has gone on, my faith has lowered. But also, we had fun with the label maker. That's for sure.
No, nobody had fun with the label maker.
Absolutely nobody. And that's how the general came to be.
That's true. Maker. There was a general lab usage, and the lab bit came off. Yeah, you can see it there.
Yeah.
So at that point, it just says general lab usage.
His full name.
And that's the General's origin story, which is magical, isn't it? So this is where you're testing out the moustache from Craig's lovely drawing. Having a look at this is Gareth modelling a ping pong ball as an eyeball test. So then we were doing the pods that kept the battery and the speed controllers in. We use these thingies, shout out to Fingertech. This is Craig working his magic. This is Craig's absolute area of expertise, is heat bending 5mm HDPE.
5mm HDPE is my favourite material. You can do so many wondrous things with it. Unfortunately, this robot is not one of them.
So yeah, we had a go. They didn't really line up, but here's Craig having heat bent one of the pods. You can see how they kind of curve around. And yeah, they look kind of cool at this point, but I fucked up all the holes, none of them lined up. The heat bending, as you can see, is already starting to shift out. Craig's also at this point testing out bending, is it 15mm HDP this stuff?
15, yeah, so I'd never bent anything this thick before. So that was like an offcut, wasn't it? That was one that was messed up or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, Cosmin had put a slight crack in it and it would not accept it as good. So then Craig actually bent the actual wedges themselves at this point, which we're kind of curving them around the sides to protect the wheels, weren't we, really? I guess.
Yeah. Definitely shout out to Greg Catalina for his tips on bending.
Yeah,
HDP,
check out that. Link in the description.
His
yeah?
dipping. Oh, that is amazing.
You look very majestic, actually.
I'll take that forward, that look.
Yeah, I think you should. I have no recollection of this. At the end of that, that's what they were looking like, which I think is pretty bang tidy. It's pretty damn good for a hand job, I was saying. That was our main building session those 2 days, I guess. So not much building, that's thanks to the Gareth style of robot, which is get the machines to do 95% of the work. Gareth has now soldered and wired up the electronics for all 3 robots.
So those were the actual working ESCs, didn't overheat. Each ESC is sort of 2 channels, so it's got one circuit board for 2 motors on it, and on the circuit board you can see there's 2 little circuit boards hanging off, and those are encoders. So it's kind of like a trick for brushless control. If you want to do it well, you need to use an encoder.
The main thing is these encoders are then attached sort of around the back of these motors with magnets detecting when they're rotating, so that the speed controller knows where the motor is and how to drive it well at slow speeds, right?
You sort of tell it where to put the power to make the motor go in the direction.
The other thing that's there's some cheeky hacks in there. So there's the receiver, is the little green square thing there. So there's just a little mini receiver soldered on, but you've also got a gyro, haven't you, in there?
Gyroscope's very underrated. So it's the same things that keep little quadcopters steady, and it's kind of like that, but for turning. When you tell it to turn at a speed, it'll turn at that speed no matter what's going on. So if you tell it not to turn, it'll not turn. You just go straight forward, the robot will go straight forward.
It's weirdly hard to make your robot drive in a straight line, particularly if it's built with hand tools, like most of ours are. We've not attached these yet. This is a future thing to go in. These are, if we've got the weight, these are 3mm Hardox forks. They're going to sit between 2 pieces of HDPE, and they're going to hopefully help us actually wedge some things. We've got these HDPE swords made out of spare bits of Gabriel, I believe. Is that right?
Spare bits of Excalibur. The one that went over to China. Shout out to our good pal Craig Collius. We love you very much.
And here's the test with the googly eyes. And I have to say, as soon as the googly eyes came on, as always, when you add googly eyes, things come to life.
So adorably derpy.
Craig hand carved these out of vinyl.
Vinyl was always going to be the only way.
And here's the general in his final form. Craig, absolutely beautiful art here, friend. Well done. Big shout out.
Thank you. I'm an artist.
These robots are actually 4-wheel drive. Lower of these 2 aluminium bars also acts as like an axle for the wheels, the front 2 wheels, and they're just belt driven with this green belt here.
Another one of the Beetleweight features has been scaled up. Second version of Get Out before I went up to 4-wheel drive, and it drives so much nicer.
It just drives nicer.
It's the way to go particularly if you're doing pushing robots, which is all these things do. So we're testing out the lovely camera work there. Thank you. That's what I contribute to the team. And you can see actually it's doing a little bit of a buck. At this point as well, I want to shout out Dave Weston. Because we stole a lot of the design stuff from his featherweight Satanics, actually. His sort of wedge style and the kind of angling up and the hooks on the tops.
Satanics also has a gyro.
Craig saying I want to die for the 20th time that day, probably. If anyone's still saying, oh hi, I didn't see you there, that's not Craig's catchphrase anymore. It's I want to die. So weighing in with all the bolts and the battery, we're looking at 4.4 kilograms at this point. It's also worth pointing out at this point, we also colour coordinated the LEDs inside. Craig,
we've kind of coordinated which ones we have, right?
That's right, yeah.
Because you've got red because Crab, I've got green because Snappy was green.
And Gareth is blue because something.
That was the one that was left.
These are the bots testing out the drive. You can see how nicely they drive actually. Look at that wheeling as well, that's so cool. Finished up by attaching the wedges, putting them in a stack, did a little photo shoot with them. So we've not attached the swords or the hats in any way yet. That's where we got to, and this was back in the middle of March.
We were kind of rushing them, weren't we? We were kind of rushing them to finish for Robo Dojo, which then inevitably got cancelled.
We can't wait to fight them, right? It's gonna be sick.
It's gonna be ridiculous.
It's gonna be something.
What speed do you reckon, Gareth?
I can't remember. It's gonna be quick. It's gonna be like 40 or 50 or something, theoretically.
I just can't wait to get out and fight these. It's gonna be a real experience.
It's gonna take some coordination, isn't it? It's gonna be very strange having to work together like this.
Oh, it's gonna be a mess, and Captain Jack's gonna break them all very quick.
Anyone else we really want to take down?
Like anything that spins, really.
Should we call out Sam Price here? I think that's a reasonable person to call out.
That's the trendy thing to do.
I think a lot of people fear Sam's robot. Me and Gareth spent the whole of the Feather Champs wanting to fight him for some reason. Let's bloody close out then, shall we, boys?
Yes. How do we do it? Should we a big chant together?
What are we going to chant, Craig?
I don't know.
I know you... Craig. Yeah, Craig de la Craig. This video was brought to you by Raid Shadow Legends, the new RPG that everybody's talking about. Bye, guys. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.